And we are live coming to you Monday night after the World Series weekend. What a wild and crazy wild World Series. Great World Series. And hopefully we'll put
One
a
of the best.
bow.
I'm as old as I am. It's one of the best I've ever been.
Yeah, well, that was the point I was getting to last week by asking you that question. Because even though, as much as I love the Mets, the two World Series they've been in my lifetime, plus winning one of them, this one is for entertainment wise. If you're a baseball fan, great World Series, great World Series. Had everything: pitching, questionable calls, stories. I mean,
Fantastic. Both those teams made some fantastic defensive plays.
so right, and a lot of history was made in this World Series. Um, you don't say
The
that.
18 inning game had a ton of history.
What's that?
The 18 inning game had a ton of history.
That one, Yamamoto, the kid from Toronto with 10 strikeouts, first rookie to do that in a World Series, or youngest rookie to do that in a World Series, let's just say.
Trey Savage.
Yeah, and then the amazing thing to me that in the seventh game was it was all hands on deck.
Everybody.
It was nobody saying I can't go.
Yeah, everybody came in. Both
Right.
teams.
That's what I told guys at work today. I was like, the amazing thing was you had a team with all that talent on it, and then you had a team that had talent but played hard, played the game the way most people think the game should be played. They played Don Mattingly baseball at the plate. So you had the Dodgers with all that talent and experience, and then you had the Blue Jays, which none of those guys have sniffed that before. Young team. I just think they're going to be just like the Mariners. Two teams. What sucks for the Blue Jays, and I'm sorry I'm hogging up some time here. The Blue Jays are just in a division where money's not a thing, right? So, the Yankees and the Dodgers and even the Orioles, if they want to, can spend the money to get some more players. That's going to be the tough part for the Blue Jays.
Yeah, well, I've got a thing on the Orioles today about the money.
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, no. I'm going to do it after we talk about the World Series.
Yeah, I fell asleep. I don't sleep well. When I fall asleep, I fall asleep hard. And I woke up, the game was over. I watched rerun of the last few innings the next day. And really, I was just, I could just feel it. You talk about it. People that watch the game enough know where you could just feel the Dodgers coming back into it. They get that run, then they get one more run. And you can see no heads are down. They're all up. They just know they're going to be in this game, if not win it. And the Blue Jays, it looked like the Blue Jays could not get the last out, right? They just couldn't.
The Blue Jays, it was one of those things where you kind of had, when you watched that game, when it was 3-0, I flipped on and watched a little football for a couple innings because I was watching Tennessee, and because the children's pastor at our church that I work with is a Tennessee fan, and I was watching Tennessee and Oklahoma. So anyway, I flipped back, and then he made it 3-1. Then he made it 3-2. Then it was 4-2 because Toronto scored again.
Mm-hmm.
And then it was 4-2, then 4-3. So the one thing I've been harping on all year was they put too much emphasis on the home run and not enough on batting average. Well, I was wrong. I was wrong because in 5 runs in the 7th game of the World Series, 2 on a sacrifice fly and 3 home runs, 3 solo home runs. That's how the Dodgers scored their runs.
Right.
But I felt bad for Toronto because they had two chances in the 6th and 7th game to win the games, to win the series. And somebody wrote an article the other day saying the best team didn't win. Well, the best team doesn't always win. I mean, I think just yesterday, the Carolina Panthers beat the Green Bay Packers in Green Bay. I don't think the best team won. So that right there, that's kind of a dumb premise because the best team doesn't always win. However, define best. Now, they had 5 of the 6 300 people hitting over 300. The only person hitting 300 with the Dodgers was Ohtani. The rest of the lineup together hit 195.
Right.
195. Both of them played great defense. But where Toronto lost 2 games, the 6th and 7th game, in my opinion, was on the bases. In the 6th game, the guy gets doubled off on a little fly ball to center field to Kiki Hernandez. I don't know where he was going, the guy on second base. I mean, he thought it was going to fall in. Kiki Hernandez was playing right behind the bag. And you don't turn around and look, see where the guy is? I mean, he didn't have to make a hard catch. He just made a running catch. And then the other problem, the other one was, and then I got an explanation of this today. The play at the plate in the 7th game, where the Dodgers had the infield in, and the guy at second who hit the home run to tie the game up makes that backhanded play, stumbles, throws home, and gets the guy by a half an inch. And when I saw the play, well, you know how your father might be old, but I see everything, always have. And I'm going, the guy wasn't off he wasn't off the bag at third base. So then they replayed it, and even John Smoltz said something about the guy didn't take a secondary lead. And I'm going, that's fundamentals. He should have been he would have scored easily if he'd have come down the line. But I found out today he was told to stay close because
line drive.
Yeah, and the third baseman for the Dodgers was not that far off the bag, and the third base coach told him he got the sign from the dugout saying, don't get off too far. Line drive, you get doubled, because they remembered getting doubled off second the night before.
Well, I can tell you right now, the way you play the guy on third base, and you cannot get leads on third base. Because I saw that, and I saw some of my friends, and I just didn't have the heart to get into it. When you take a lead off a third, your third baseman is to take every step he takes, you take a step with him.
Exactly.
So if the ball comes to you, you're just tagging him. I've actually, one of my biggest highlights of my personal career, now granted it's just high school, is I took a ground ball on a man on third, tagged him out, and threw a guy out at first. Now it was summer ball, but still, I got a data boy from the other coaching staff, my coaches, because that's fundamentals. So you cannot take secondary leads necessarily at third unless the third baseman is pulled around on a left-handed hitter.
Yeah, or he's coming up expecting a bunt.
Right. So he is taking a step with you. If he takes a secondary lead, if the pitcher throws over, the guy does not have to be on the bag to throw over. So, or easy ground ball get you out or in a rundown or whatever. That's why you just can't take the second, because third baseman is right there with you. It's not like second base. It's not like when the first baseman's playing off of you at first base. So, and you got to be careful at first base taking huge secondary leads. You don't take the same.
You'll get picked off.
Right. You don't take the same secondary lead at first that you do at second.
No, because the catcher will throw you out.
Right. That's. So, yes, he should have been leaning that way, but he was freezing on line drives for that very reason. You don't want to make the third out at that third, right? You want another shot at getting that guy home. What's up, guys? Thank you for joining us tonight. But that to me is just, fundamental baseball, but a lot of people get driven into it. I know that also, I don't think the umpires called the ball correctly that got stuck in the fence in Game 6.
Well, if a ball gets stuck under the fence, it's a ground rule double.
Yeah, so the guy should have got running the bases should have got 1+1 from what I read. So he should have. It's not a ground rule double. It's 1+1. It's the base you're running to plus one more base. So the guy running from home most likely is going to be a double, but the guy running in the other might not be. He might be a little further. But it's either that's what makes baseball so great is the story.
But they called it a ground rule double that night.
Yeah. So I don't know if that was called correctly or not. I'm not 100% sure either on that. I'm just I read up on it after the fact just to see, but it is what it is, and that's the great things about baseball.
Well, the other thing I enjoyed about this World Series was I didn't really have a dog in the hunt.
Right.
I'm not like a lot of people. I don't hate the Dodgers, and I loved a lot of players on Toronto. I mean, Scherzer pitched for the Nationals the year they won the World Series. He pitched for the Nationals. You and I went to Washington and watched him pitch.
And he fought like he's a dog.
Well, he's coming back next year. I mean, Kershaw said I'd come back if I could still throw 96.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a great Scherzer. I mean, really, in Game 6, was it Gossman only got hit for one inning, and he didn't really get beat up that bad. He just gave up 3 runs and a clump. And after that, before and after, he was great, except for like that 4 batters. It was like this poor guy. He just hit him at the right time. And I mean, I think where Blue Jays need to work. I was sitting there going, Jimenez, as much as I like him, he had a lot of chance of players on base because they pitched around the 8th guy to get to him in the 9th spot, especially with that left-hander pitching.
And it was the 9th guy for the Dodgers that hit the tying home run. That was only the 3rd home run he did all year, and he hadn't had a hit in a month.
Right. And Jimenez had a good tournament all around, but he didn't deliver in the second half of the World Series. I thought they should have pitched Tink for him in the 7th inning with him facing a left-hander because I'd rather have a right-hander and then bringing in a right-hander because a right-hander facing a right-hander, they're used to it. And that left-hander ate him up. And then the next night, he's facing the same left-hander, and he's sticking his hand out there trying to get hit by a pitch, which I thought was chicken shit. Excuse my language. And I didn't blame the pitcher for throwing it right at him when he hit him. Did you see that?
Yes.
So, even though it's the World Series and a lot on the line, I thought that was pretty ridiculous. And I like Jimenez. I just thought that was poor judgment on his part.
Well,
let's
be honest here. He was trying to do anything he could for his team.
Well, roll into it. Take it off the shoulder. Don't just stick your hand out there that's bionic and got more covering on it than, a medieval knight.
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of ridiculous. Yeah, Warren. Jimenez is a Mets guy. So he went to the Indians and then went to Toronto, which is a great move. He's a great infielder and a decent hitter. He just didn't have a great World Series. He had a great tournament. He had a good tournament. And I mean, but I really like what Toronto's doing. I hope most teams do.
Well, they got to try to bring everybody back. I mean, they've got 7 guys that's going free agents. So they've got 7 guys going free agents. Seattle, they should try to bring everybody back. But Naylor, Suarez, and a couple of other guys are going.
Well, Naylor was a rental. We knew that when that trade.
Yeah, but I tell you, Naylor helped that team a lot.
Yeah, I don't know though they could afford to pay him, but yeah.
Well, if they don't have his bat, that's. Oh, Steven Strasburg, remember him? He's been collecting money from the Nationals for his contract. That he got that big contract from Rizzo, the genius, and then he only pitched 1 game, and then he got paid for 5 years. millions of dollars. He's going back to San Diego State as the assistant coach at his alma mater. So he's going back there. Just a few little things. In that 18-inning game, of course, there were a lot of records. Some of them were not that most wonderful. But, of course, Ohtani, again, the greatest player I've ever seen in my life. Gets 5 walks, 2 doubles, and 2 home runs. 9 for 9. I mean, you just unbelievable.
Never happened again.
And the dubious thing about that game was that the Dodgers left 18 men on base and Toronto left 19 on base. 37 men left on base. That's a study in ineptitude. That's not baseball.
Yeah.
That's not being able to get your people in.
That is trying so hard and just failing. Gripping the bat a little too much, not relaxing. And I thought the Dodgers in the first 2 games was playing too loose.
And they used 19 pitchers in that game, too. There was 19 pitchers used in that game. So there was all kinds of records that were broken. I don't know if you have time, but I've got the list of the Players' Choice Awards. I've also got the Gold Glove winners.
Let's do Gold Glove and Players' Choice next week.
Yeah, that's good. Let's see. Gold Glove in the American League, the catcher was Dylan Dingler of the Detroit Tigers. I thought maybe
greatest ever.
Let's see. First base was Ty France of Minnesota / Toronto. Second base, Marcus Seaman of Texas. Shortstop, Bobby Witt of Kansas City. Third base, Mikhail Sarcillo of Kansas City. Left field, Stephen Kwan, who he gets lost in Cleveland. That guy is a heck of a player. He's from Cleveland. The center fielder is Cedane Rafaela of the Red Sox. The right fielder is Wilyer Abreu of the Red Sox. The pitcher was Max Fried of New York, and he won it in America. He would have won it in the National League the year before, except Chris Sale won it. They were on the same team. And the utility was Marcio Dubois of Houston. In the National League, the catcher was Patrick Bailey of San Francisco. First base was Matt Olson of the Atlanta Braves. Second base, Nico Horner of the Cubs. Shortstop, Massine William of St. Louis. Third base, Cabrian Hayes, who was to Pittsburgh, and then they traded him to the Reds. The left fielder was Ian Happ of the Cubs. Center field, Pete Comard Armstrong. Pete Crow Armstrong. The Cubs had 3 Gold Glove winners in the National League. And the right fielder was Fernando Tatis of San Diego. The pitcher was Logan Webb of San Francisco. And utility was Javier Sonia of Miami. They won the Gold Gloves.
So Warren, what he meant by that was he's not lost as in people don't know. Baseball people know who Quan is. It's the everyday casual watcher. He's not a household name, which if he played on some other teams, he might be. If the Guardians went deep, and I'm not trying to put it, the Guardians are a great team, great organization for what they do with what they got. If they could go deep one or two playoffs and really show off the talent they got there to a national audience where they're the only game on TV at the time, would help the status of some of that.
Well, see, now he's a Cleveland fan. Warren's a Cleveland fan. So, I mean, yeah, you know him real well. But see, let me explain what I'm talking about here. This is the best way I can explain it. I live in an area where it's not on MLB, I get Masson, which is a local network out of Baltimore and Washington, and I get the Nationals and the Orioles. Now, unless Cleveland's playing in a national game on the weekend on one of the networks on the weekend, which Cleveland is rarely on the weekends because it's either Boston, New York, LA, Chicago, they're trying for the ratings. Then the other problem is I don't get to see him that much. Now, I follow this. I do this little show and stuff, and I follow it, and I see all these highlights and everything every day. So I see this kid play.
I love Quan.
Yeah,
I fell in love with Quan at Oregon State. So when they won the World Series, College World Series. So anybody that plays the dirtbag style of baseball, like you said before, he gets dirty in a snowstorm or whatever.
Yeah,
he's one of those guys. He's one of those guys. He's going to dive. He's going to get dirty when he don't have to. I love the dirtbags, man, and that Quan is one of those guys, and he's one of the players too that every year comes up for a discussion of a trade, and the guard, I almost said Indians, the Guardians do not give him up. So that tells you right there.
Why would you?
Yeah, I mean, he's a cornerstone of that defense and offense. So he's got good wheels, puts the ball in play. He's not going to hit for a lot of home runs, but he can. He can hit. But he's one of those guys that's kind of, in the way the game is played now, does get a little lost in the sauce.
Yeah.
So.
I just the other thing, Emmanuel Clase got suspended from the Indians for the gambling thing, and his agent and his lawyer came out and said that he never gambled on anything, and he doesn't.
What I read, he might not ever be a baseball player again.
Right. Well, that might be, but I'm just saying that's what came out.
Yeah, I know they're trying to defend him.
He didn't do anything. The other one, the Nationals assigned a manager, Blake Butera. He's 33 years old.
Hey, Warren, I want to just say thank you for that, too. So me and my dad love to talk baseball, so you gave us an excuse to gush over Quan. So that was great.
Yeah, we encourage people to give us stuff.
Yes.
Blake Butera, 33, is the new manager for the Nationals. He was a minor league manager for several years, and he was in the Rays front office. He was senior director of player development. That's a big term for farm director.
Yeah.
So they hired him because he knows about development, and they think he can work with these young players. They did not retain the bench coach that they gave the managerial job to, interim. So they didn't keep him. He's out of the organization. Have
you heard anything about the Braves?
No. They're different. Each day it's somebody different.
Seems like they want to go young. Like the last name that's come up is a 40-year-old. And I don't understand why Mattingly isn't being thrown around more, right?
He did a great job when he was in Miami.
And with the Dodgers, they just did World Series. That was their big thing with them. Like, then when he's with the Marlins, what are you going to do? And he got them to the playoffs. So I don't know. And he took this Toronto team that, some people were talking about because they had talent, but he took them to another level.
Right. He
took some guys that nobody heard about. Let's be real. Half of that lineup, most of this baseball world didn't know who the hell they were until this playoffs. They knew the Vlads, they knew the Bichetts, Kirk. But, some of these other guys, they didn't know who they were.
Springer, he'd been around.
Springer. People, of course, know who Springer is. But, some of these names, and that's what the playoffs in the World Series does. Because baseball is so, what we were talking about with Warren, is baseball is so localized, right? Because like you were saying, you watch games on your local network that sometimes these everyday players that are not superstars kind of get lost in the sauce a little bit. So when they get to the playoffs, you get to see who they'll shine. And it's awesome. So Warren, you'll be back. It's just tough. You're in a tough division. That American League East, those teams can get better just by signing.
Cleveland's not the East. Cleveland's in the Central.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was thinking Toronto. Yeah. Cleveland's going to win that division again.
Believe me, that's not an easy division either because Cleveland, Detroit, And Kansas City, they're all about even. I mean, they beat up on each other. And
I just think Detroit, their problem is they're losing Scooble, and then like you said last year, you saw it before everybody else. They had Scooble and then 4 question marks pitching. I don't know what they're going to do this year if they trade Scooble.
Well, the way they're talking is he will be with Cleveland this year. They'll either trade him at the deadline be with Detroit this year, trade him at the deadline, or they'll trade him after the year's over.
Well, after the year, he's a free agent.
Now?
Next year.
Yeah, next year. Yeah, but then they try to trade him at the deadline.
They have to hold on to him because if they trade him and they have any hope of winning, they just shoot themselves in the foot. I mean, I don't know. That's the tough part of baseball. So,
well, the other thing in the World Series was the night Blake Snell was pitching and he gave up 2 home runs on 3 pitches.
Yeah.
Ready to be. Excuse me, guys. I had to go to the doctor today because I got an upper respiratory problem. But anyway, I mean I'm sitting there going, what the heck? The game's only started. It's already 3-0 or 2-0. I mean 3-0 home run.
Yeah.
And excuse me. And then
balls up and over the plate. I mean, they were sick.
Yeah. Well, that first fastball was right there.
Right.
And then he hung a slider to Glad, and that was the end of that. The other thing about Yoshi, when he came in and pitched that last 2 innings, 2 and a third innings, to win the game after he pitched the day before and threw 90-some pitches, it reminded me of old Madison Bumgarner back in 2011. Or was it 2014? I think he was pitching against Kansas City. I
can't remember the years.
Don't against Kansas City, and
I'm just going to agree with you.
I think he pitched in all 7 games. I'm not sure, but every time I looked up, Bumgarner was coming in the game.
Yeah.
But he closed that last 7th game. He did the same thing. That's the only other time it's been done, where he closed the 7th game.
See you, Warren.
And he's
Thanks for jumping in, brother. Yeah, he won the MVP, which he should have. I mean, hands down, Yamamoto.
That was outstanding. A complete game, 6 innings, allowed 1 run, and then to come back and win the game. He won 3 games. You don't see it anymore. We talked about that last week. We saw.
Well, he did it unconventionally too.
And I mentioned. The other thing, I read an article where people were talking, a lot of people were criticizing baseball because they said that the Dodgers have all that money and they're buying World Series. Same thing they used to say about the Yankees.
Right.
When they spend all that money. The same thing when he had Steinbrenner. Yeah, you're right. They spent more money. And I hated it because I hated seeing them.
They didn't spend the most in the league.
But the Dodgers, the Yankees, and the Mets had the 3 highest payrolls. Well, how did the Mets and Yankees do?
Right.
I mean, there was only 1 series.
I really think the Yankees are in some trouble after this year.
Well, and then the other team that spends a lot of money is Philadelphia, and they got the same. They've got some free agents going, and they've got these teams. The other thing is you got to look at age. Freddie Freeman's 35. He'll be 36 next year. Let's see, who else is it?
Mookie ain't young.
Mookie's 34, 35. And so you got these older guys, they're probably gonna let the third baseman go and try to bring in Bregman or somebody. But they got some age on that team. Then they don't have a bullpen. I said at the beginning the bullpen was going to cost him. Well, the bullpen didn't cost him because he didn't use a bullpen. He used starting pitchers because he didn't have a bullpen. He knew it. That's what his plan was. Yoshi Yamamoto was the first pitcher to go 2+ innings in the 7th game of the World Series and win it after winning the 6th game. And the only other pitcher to do that was in 1926, Grover Cleveland Alexander. And that was the only year that the Washington Senators ever won the World Series. Now, the Nationals won it in the National League in 19, but the Washington Senators were an American League for years, years, and years. And
well, I think that's the American. Is that the Senators that are now the Mariners?
Huh.
Or are they the ones that are now
they had the Senators.
We've had 2 Senators teams.
Yeah, they had the Senators, and the first Senators, they moved to Texas, I believe. Then they had another expansion team in Washington. They built that team up, and then they went to Minnesota.
Yeah.
And so anyway, if I remember correctly, but because they did have 2. But when I was a kid in the 50s, they used to joke about the Senators. They said define the Senators as first in war, first in peace, and last in the American League. I mean,
right.
that was just, I mean, they were always last in the American League, and a lot of times the poor Cubs were last in the National League. Ernie Banks saying play 2, I mean,
right.
but I mean, I just remember that when I was a kid. Now, I was talking about age. The Dodgers have the oldest team in baseball. Second oldest team in baseball is San Diego, and the third oldest is Texas. Now, Kershaw is going to retire, so there goes 37 years right there.
Right.
But I mean, still, they're not a lock to win it next year. They've got a lot of questions that have to be answered. Most baseball teams do, and they have a lot. They've got to fortify the bullpen. They got to find a couple more, at least one more starter. Max Muncy's probably going to be gone, so they had to find a third baseman. And then I did bring up Gunnar Henderson, and we were talking about the Orioles trying to sign maybe a free agent or something to get back in the playoffs. They talked, I read today, where they think that they will probably have to trade Gunnar Henderson because when he goes into free agency, he's going to ask for $500 million, and they're not going to pay it. They said they're not going to pay it, so they're probably going to have to pay. They'll probably have to let him walk and move the kid from second base to shortstop.
I'm just trying to figure out why he thinks he deserves $500 million.
They all do.
I mean, hey, self-confidence is a hell of a thing. I can tell you. Is Boris his agent?
I think so.
Because these guys are those. I think those type of contracts are over, unless something like another Yamamoto or because that's the type of play. He is not Yamamoto. Ohtani. He's not Ohtani. He's not Harper. He's not. I don't think he's a game changer, much less an ultra superstar. So, and I like Gunnar. It's nothing taken away from him. He's just got he's got a lot more to do to prove before that happens. But that's just me. I don't know.
Well, he's an excellent player. I mean, he's excellent.
But he's not, that's what I'm saying. I'm not.
Scott, who is worth $500?
Right. Well, you got to compare him against the ones that got those type of contracts, and he's not those guys.
Because your stepmom, if they make $48 an hour, they're making too much money. She said nobody's worth that kind of money. I said, well, they're paying them.
Yeah, I agree. You have to kind of put the money thing as more of just numbers. I can't look at it as money because it will make me physically sick. Especially when they bitch about it, and I'm like, I will switch places with you in a heartbeat, and you'll come running back there as fast as you can. Come in the real world and work for reals. I know it's hard work to stay in shape in baseball and all that, but it's baseball.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
So, you're fortunate to make it out.
It was a great World Series. Free agency started. They can go out and I think on the 6th announce free agency, or they can sign on the 6th. I think the second day, yesterday was they can start free
I
agency.
think again this year, free agency is going to be the ones they can get at a bargain price are going to go to first, and that's going to set the pace. And I think it's going to be a long free agency again this year. I think the big signings are going to wait till after the draft because they want to see who they get in the draft.
Well, the other problem is, even though who they get in the draft probably won't get in the majors for a few years. The other thing is they're going to I'm wondering how many of these teams are going to be wanting to throw money around when they're not sure they're going to have a season.
That's the other point.
In 27, if you're not going to have a season in 27, you don't want to have your money paying contracts for people that aren't there.
Right. Yep. Yeah. And that's all negotiated if that's a year spent or it's going to be a mess.
Well, we'll have to wait and see if the owners, if they propose a salary cap, and players are dead set against it, the owners might decide it's not worth losing the season. They'll just play the way they are playing.
Well, that's all we got for you. Got any Yogi-isms or?
Oh yeah, he and the guy, he and the player, the Yankees, they were in the clubhouse, and Casey walked in there and he said, "What are you guys talking about?" And he said, "We're talking about fan mail. We were arguing to see who was getting the most fan mail." Well, Mickey Mantle was getting the most fan mail, but anyway, they were arguing about who was getting the most fan mail. And Yogi said the only thing he offered everybody was that if you get an anonymous letter, don't answer. Don't answer anonymous mail. That's okay. If it doesn't have an address, right? But anyway, that's Yogi.
Yep. So if you have any questions, like I said, we want to, we're going to really, I think, talk about some topics in this off season. Probably take multiple, weeks, especially this stuff going on in 2027. We're going to solve all the problems. So stay tuned for that. So until next time, see ya.